So if you're anything like me, then you find yourself in this constant battle between laziness, procrastination, and trying to find inspiration for action. My usual routine in everyday life is to work on the things that have to get done, like school, work, family, and other priorities. I rarely go above and beyond, and when I do, it's usually because I have some sort of obligation to go above and beyond, like a deadline. I not only finish most things last minute, I usually start them last minute as well. I've always done this in an attempt to try to give myself more free time, because my free time is where I've convinced myself that the things that actually matter will get done. Things that I find more important than schoolwork or a part-time job. The reality is, what do I actually do with all this free time? The same thing that a lot of other people do. I'll scroll on Instagram, I'll watch YouTube videos, I'll binge a Netflix series, I'll play video games for hours and hours, and no work ever really gets done. When I trace back to a lot of the reasons for my laziness and my procrastination, a lot of it has to do with my overindulgence in social media and all of these other things that are so distracting and stimulating. These things not only encourage this type of behavior, but a lot of the times they caused it in the first place. I realized that there's been a lot of times where I've had ideas on things that I've wanted to do, and when I actually try to go and set out to go do those things, social media, gaming, all of these things really played as a huge barrier in my way. They not only stopped me from getting things done in that moment, a lot of the times they caused me to abandon the ideas altogether. I've spent countless hours watching self-improvement videos, reading books, just looking for that magic advice that'll get me out of bed and make me start working. And sometimes it works, but it works briefly. I might get up, start working on a video or a project because I feel super inspired right there in the moment, but then a few days go by, or sometimes it's a few hours, where I just start going back to my old habits of just wasting time on social media and things that just aren't a good use of time. And what I've realized is that a lot of the decisions that we make on a day-to-day basis are made out of comparison. When you have a million different sources of distractions, it's really easy to say, yeah, I'll start working on that project after I finish this one game of Warzone. And then you have a lot of fun playing that one game of Warzone, so you play a few more. Next thing you know, 3 hours have gone by and you haven't even started the thing you said you're going to do in the first place. And if you do try to start that assignment, you'll notice that it seems way more boring than it did in the first place because of all the stimulation you've given your brain right before you try to do it. Having the willpower to say, no, I have to stop doing this so I can work on something that'll improve me in the future, is really difficult, especially when you're in a comfortable state. I've noticed this, especially with myself. Being stuck in quarantine for the past month has really exposed this lazy side of me. When I'm stuck in my room, I have access to all of these things, all of these distractions. I have my laptop, I have my phone, I have my Xbox. It's really easy to get sucked up into those distractions. A few days ago, I was looking for my weekly burst of inspiration just to try to get some work done, and I came across a series of videos that go over this idea of a dopamine detox. In a nutshell, a dopamine detox restrains you from making just mindless decisions for immediate pleasure. Everybody has their own vices. For some people it's sugar, for some people it's smoking or drinking. I would say for me the biggest one is YouTube. I could watch YouTube for hours and hours a day, and the day can just fly by without me even noticing. If you want to know more about what a dopamine detox is, you can check out these channels right here. They'll explain it way better than I can. So in an attempt to try to get my brain to like doing hard things, as a lot of these YouTube videos are titled, I'm going to be trying a dopamine detox to see if it works in making these boring things fun, or at least seem more fun. That means no social media, no Netflix, no TV, no gaming, no super stimulating foods. Anything you can think of that gives you immediate pleasure, I'm cutting out. Some things that are allowed include reading books, journaling, music, exercise. To some more of the advanced dopamine detoxers out there, this would be considered the beginner version. More advanced detoxers will cut out everything I cut out, but also cut out the things that I'm keeping, leaving them with essentially no stimulation whatsoever, sort of like a prisoner in solitary confinement. To me, that seems a little extreme, and to be honest, I don't know if I could do it, even if I tried. So I'm ready to get this week started. Wish me luck. Alright, so before I did anything on day one, I deleted all apps off my phone that I thought would be distraction. I blocked websites off my laptop that I thought would be distraction during this time. Unplugged my Xbox, put it under my bed. Then I started off day one by going for a run. I took a shower, made breakfast. I spent a lot of day one working on my car, just taking care of things that were way overdue, like changing the fluids and the brakes. This whole process probably took about 6 hours. After finishing that, just spent a few hours in my room working on small little errand stuff, replying to emails, stuff like that. After that, finished off the night just talking to some of my buddies in a Skype call.
Day one went pretty smoothly.
So I don't know what it was about day two, but I felt pretty groggy the entire morning. I wasn't going to give up though. I started off by doing a Udemy lecture on Amazon FBA. After that, I just finished up some more stuff on my car that didn't get done in day one. These two things pretty much took up the entirety of day two. Towards the end of the night, I started to feel tempted. I don't know what it was, but all that work that I did in the day really made me want to reward myself with some YouTube or some Netflix. This is when I started to journal. I started following a journaling technique that I learned from a YouTuber by the names of Universal Man. I was specifically doing the preemptive journal entries. Basically how these work is you start off with a main objective, then you notice the pattern that you do every single time that it causes you to sway off course. So for example, if my objective was to make $30,000 in the next year, my pattern would be every time I'm unmotivated or stuck, I give up and play Xbox or go on YouTube. Then you'd make a journal entry that gives yourself a little bit of a pat on the back, gives you a little bit of a pep talk. And you tell yourself what you're going to do differently this time around instead of going to those old patterns. I found that this really helped me to clear my mind and really just get to the source of why it is that I feel like I need to reward myself when all I really did was stuff that had to be done in the first place. Once I realized that this was just a pattern of thinking that I've developed over years and years, it became a little bit easier to say no to all of these things that were really tempting me. And that was the end of day two. Day three. So, day three started off with probably the first real workout that I'd had since the beginning of the quarantine. This is me struggling to do pull-ups. After that, I came home and I decided I was going to try yoga for the first time ever because I heard yoga was good for you. That's the face of somebody who just realized that yoga is harder than it seems. The rest of this day was me doing more stuff that had to get done around the house. So this is me and my dad replacing the floor in my room. Something that I've been trying to get done for a while, but really did not want to do. Felt good to finally get it done though. Day four. So day four is when I really started to get into a groove every single day. I realized that when I started my day with some kind of workout or physical exercise, it really helped me transition into the rest of the day a lot better, and I was always in a better mood. So here's me on a bike ride. Day four was the only day of this week that I didn't really have to do anything, so I kind of went crazy on this bike ride. This ended up taking 4 hours. Once I got home, I showered and ate, all that stuff, and then this happened. If you've seen any of the other videos on this channel, you know that I've been into reselling a little bit. I found this bench press right here for free on the side of the street. Thought why not take it home, put it on Kijiji and Facebook and stuff, and see if I can make some money.
I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Every day, once a day.
Alright, so that was amazing. I just posted that listing an hour ago. Somebody came and they picked it up for $150. That's probably the easiest $150 I've ever made. I also might have got a client for something else because I'm starting to do automotive detailing in the summer. And we were talking and he said that he's selling a car and he wants to get it detailed. So right there I got a client for the detailing. So I'm pretty happy about that. That's probably something that wouldn't happen on a normal day. Usually when I see stuff like that on the street, I don't think about taking it to my house and trying to sell it. But because I did that, I made $140 and a potential future client for detailing. Gonna get a little bit more work done and then got an early morning tomorrow. So let's do it. Day five. So I started off day 5 by reading The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. If you're into self-improvement or into that world at all, then you definitely know about this book. I've been reading it throughout this entire challenge just to kind of help me get into that mood where I want to be productive and I want to get things done, and it really helped me out a lot. So if you haven't read it, recommend it a lot. For the rest of the day, I didn't really get to film a lot. It was a pretty hectic day. I was doing a training for the detailing job that I mentioned earlier in this video. So I didn't really get to get any footage of that, but I'll throw on some B-roll. This is what it looked like.
Basically just cleaning cars. This is gonna be pretty much my full-time job for the next few months until I go back to school. And yeah, that pretty much wraps up the entirety of the 5 days of the dopamine detox. Even though it was only 5 days, I feel like it was a much needed break from all of these distractions that we're so used to having access to every single day. When you force yourself to not be able to do those things, it kind of gives you a new perspective on how it is that you use them. Do I think this is sustainable to do every single day of every single year? I don't know. For me, I would probably say no, because social media and all these things have just become part of our lives at this point. But to anybody watching this, I would say if you're curious or interested and you're in a similar position that I talked about in the beginning of this video with procrastination, I encourage you, give a dopamine detox a try, and you might be surprised with the results that you see. Take care.